Close your eyes for a moment, not to escape the world, but to create one. You see, before you ever hold that ticket in your hand, something far more powerful must take place. You must hold the experience in your imagination. Do not play the lottery as a beggar pleading for a miracle. Play it as the one who knows the miracle already occurred within. The world will try to convince you that wealth is random, that fortune is blind. But the deeper truth is this: your mind is the architect of every fortune. Before you scratch a ticket, scratch away every doubt. Before you pick a number, pick a new state of being. Stand still and enter the moment after you've won. How do you feel? Where are you standing? Who are you telling? Taste it, touch it, live it in the mind, and do not come back unchanged. People chase luck, but the truly wise know luck is the shadow of belief. The stronger your belief, the longer your shadow stretches across this earth. So just do this. Buy your ticket not with your hand, but with your heart. Walk to the store not with desperation, but with the quiet confidence of one who already holds the prize. And when they ask you, why do you seem so calm, so sure? You smile and say, because I didn't come here to get rich. I came here because I already am. Before the ticket is ever bought, you must see the result in your mind. The true act of purchasing is done in consciousness first. This is the secret most people miss. They walk into a store, hand over their money, and hope. But hope is passive. Hope is rooted in uncertainty. You are not here to hope. You are here to know. To know that reality as you experience it is simply a reflection of your inner world. What you accept as true in imagination, the world cannot help but mirror. When you buy a lottery ticket, you're not just making a financial transaction. You're making a spiritual one. The real purchase happens long before your hand reaches into your wallet. It happens when you dare to believe that the life you desire is already yours. Not one day, not someday, now. The numbers on the ticket are not what decide your fate. Your assumption does. Your inner state, your conviction, that's the currency that counts. If you imagine lack, you reinforce lack. If you imagine loss, you feed loss. But if you imagine joy, if you feel the relief, the thrill, the awe of seeing your numbers match, if you can hold that inner picture and feel it as real, you begin to shape your world from the inside out. The outer world may tell you that the odds are slim, that logic and statistics are the final word. But remember, the outer world is not the cause. It is the result. You must reverse your thinking. Stop letting the world inform your imagination and let your imagination inform the world. Don't let the numbers, the noise, the news, or the experts convince you that you're powerless. The power is in the invisible, the silent act of creation that takes place when you choose to dwell in the end. The world will catch up, but it will only reflect what you've accepted as real in the unseen chambers of your mind. Picture yourself already holding that winning ticket. Feel the weight of it. Hear the announcement. Feel your heart pounding not from doubt, but from certainty realized. Let that version of you live in you right now. Walk differently, breathe differently, think differently. Let your imagination craft the inner movie and play it again and again, not as a dream, but as a memory from the future. You are not trying to win. You are not chasing wealth. You are claiming what is already yours in the realm of the unseen. You don't need to know how it will come. You simply need to be it. Now, the question is not, will I win? The real question is, can I believe in a reality before I see it? If you can say yes to that, you have already won. because your imagination is not fiction, it is creation. This world is molded by the images you accept as truth. That is why your assumption, the thing you declare as already true, carries the power to shift circumstances, override odds, and bring the impossible into form. That is the real power, not in the ticket, but in the consciousness behind it. So before you even walk into the store, take a moment to go within. Close your eyes and see, not as a watcher, but as a participant. Step into the scene, walk in the reality where you are no longer wanting, you are receiving, you are celebrating, you are transformed. That version of you already exists. You are not creating it, you are aligning with it. The purchase is made not with money but with belief, not with effort but with awareness. Before the numbers are drawn, draw the feeling of fulfillment within. Make the inner real and the outer will follow. Because imagination is not daydreaming. Imagination is destiny. Don't hope for the win. Assume you've already won. This is not about wishful thinking. This is not about daydreaming or fantasizing. This is about a profound shift in consciousness, a movement from longing to possessing, from waiting to receiving. It is a deliberate choice to dwell in the end, to live mentally and emotionally from the outcome, not toward it. Hope is weak. It implies distance. It says, maybe one day. But assumption is powerful. It brings the future into the present. It claims the result now. When you assume you've already won, you do something extraordinary. You condition your inner world to reflect the very thing you desire, and in time, the outer world has no choice but to conform. Feel the joy now, not as if you're pretending, not as if you're acting, but as if the thing you've asked for has already unfolded. What does that feel like? If you truly believed the lottery was won, how would you breathe? How would you walk into a room? What conversations would you have? How different would your energy be? These are not small things. They are everything. They are the signs that your inner world has shifted. People often say, I'll feel better once it happens. That's backwards. You must feel better first. You must feel secure, feel excited, feel grateful now. Not because the world has given you proof, but because you have chosen to be the proof. You no longer wait for evidence. You become the evidence. You declare the state of the wish fulfilled and occupy it fully, and then the world mirrors that declaration in form. This is not about pretending you won and checking your bank account every hour with anxious eyes. That's not faith. That's fear in disguise. To feel the wish fulfilled is to rest in it, to know it so deeply that you no longer grasp, no longer beg, no longer worry. You are no longer concerned with if or when because it is done. You are not waiting for signs, you are living from the sign. You see, security is not a number in a bank account. It is a vibration, a state of being. When you win inwardly, you stop chasing. You radiate. You draw in. You become the center from which wealth flows. Your conversations change. Your posture changes. Your thoughts become peaceful, confident, expectant. Not because you are hoping something happens, but because you know it already has. Do you understand? What power that gives you. The moment you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you cease to be the person who needs and become the person who receives. Your identity changes. And when identity changes, reality must follow. That is the law. You do not need to figure out how the world will arrange itself. You only need to remain faithful to the state you've entered. Let yourself smile. Let yourself feel the warmth of knowing. Let yourself celebrate quietly, not because you're pretending, but because you are remembering. This isn't fiction. It's memory from a future moment. And your only task is to remember more often than you forget. Feel the joy now, not later. Feel the freedom of not needing to check your balance. Feel the lightness of knowing bills are paid, dreams are funded, generosity flows from your hands. Sit with it, dwell in it, speak from it. Make decisions as if it were already real, because in truth it is. The seed has been planted, and no one doubts a seed when it is buried in soil. They trust that life is taking root, unseen but inevitable. So before the world shows you the wind, you must show the world your decision, the decision to feel what you asked for before it arrives. That is the act of creation. That is the secret. To feel now as you would then, to live today as you would if the prize were already in your possession. Not to force it, but to be it. You've already won. Now act like it, speak like it, feel like it. Because that is how your world changes. Not when the numbers align on paper, but when the feeling aligns within. The lottery is just one possible bridge of incident. It is not the source of wealth. It is merely a symbol, an avenue, a path your mind can grasp. But the true source does not depend on tickets, numbers, odds, or statistics. The true source is infinite, limitless, unbound by method. It needs no mechanism but your belief. That is all. To become attached to the how is to limit the flow. It is to tell infinite intelligence that it must come through this door, in this way, at this time. But life in its vastness, in its wisdom, laughs gently at such narrowness. The moment you define how it must happen, you close yourself off to the greater miracles already forming outside your view. You shrink the possible into the probable, and in doing so you confine what was meant to be limitless. If wealth is your desire, your task is not to decide the channel. Your task is to feel the state of wealth so deeply, so fully, that the outer world bends to accommodate that inner truth. You don't need to figure it out. You only need to dwell in the state that would be yours if it were already done. The bridge will appear, and it may look like a lottery ticket, or it may look like something you never could have imagined. Detach from the how. Do not confuse the channel with the source. Do not worship the tool. The universe has endless tools. What it needs is your permission. And that permission is given through belief. Not hope, not struggle, not effort, but belief. Belief that what you have imagined in full faith and feeling is already yours, not in the future, but now. You are not here to control conditions, you are here to choose states. When you choose the state of abundance, life must respond, not because you forced it, but because you became it. The path that delivers it may come dressed in the ordinary or in the spectacular, but it is not your job to determine how it shows up. That is the realm of the unseen. That is the art of trust. Imagine placing an order at a restaurant, and then insisting on going into the kitchen, telling the chef how to cook, what ingredients to use, in what order. You would ruin the dish. You would disrupt the process. The wise guest orders and waits in confidence. They trust that what they've requested will come, prepared in a way better than they could do themselves. So it is with desire. Ask, assume, feel it fulfilled, and then release it. The lottery is a beautiful symbol. It represents sudden transformation, abundance out of nowhere. But don't cling to it. Don't worship it. It is just one way. The truth is, you are already wealthy in essence. And once you fully identify with that state, wealth must come from one door or another, often the least expected. Your imagination is the factory of all form. It is the beginning of every bridge, every unfolding. Use it to enter the state, not to plan the strategy. Let life surprise you. Let the unseen arrange what your conscious mind could never orchestrate. The lottery ticket is not the prize. If you win within, you cannot lose without. This is law. This is truth. Wealth comes not to those who grasp, but to those who know, who rest, who trust. You may be inspired to buy the ticket and do so in joy without attachment. But never place your faith in paper or numbers. Place it in your inner world where the true creation takes place. Let the bridge form on its own. You are not the architect of the outer, you are the dreamer of the inner. And the dream, once felt as real, will always find a way. Often, in ways you never saw coming. You are not someone hoping to be rich, you are already rich. This is not about pretending. This is not about delusion. This is about truth, a deeper truth than what your senses may currently suggest. It is about choosing to dwell in the end, to anchor your identity in the result you desire, not the conditions you temporarily observe. To live from the end is to claim the state as already yours. You do not ask if it's possible. You decide that it is done. You are no longer on a journey to your desire. You are already at the destination. The world hasn't caught up yet, but it will, because your inner world has shifted. You have become the thing you once pursued. And when you live from the end, you begin to notice a strange peace. You stop forcing. You stop overthinking. You begin to move differently. You walk with the quiet confidence of one who knows they have nothing to prove and nothing to chase. The conversations you have change, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you genuinely speak as someone who possesses. The struggle dissolves. Ask yourself, if I were already rich, how would I feel? Sit with the answer, don't rush it. Let it wash over you. Would you be anxious? Would you be grasping? Or would you be relaxed, content, generous? Would you worry about tomorrow or rest in the fullness of now? That feeling, that state, is the signal you must return to again and again. It is the fertile ground where all things grow. Do not confuse this with acting. Living from the end is not a performance, it is a conviction. It is not playing a role, it is becoming the role. The difference lies in your belief. Are you faking it or are you embodying it? The former requires constant effort. The latter brings effortlessness, because it is no longer something you're trying to maintain, it's simply who you are. Wealth, like all states of consciousness, is not something you get, it's something you accept. It is claimed within. Once accepted, it begins to express itself outwardly in ways both natural and miraculous. But you must hold the state regardless of appearances. You must remain faithful to the end you've chosen, even when your senses scream otherwise. You are not poor hoping to be rich. You are not lacking trying to become abundant. You are abundance itself, waking up to your own identity. Everything around you may still reflect the old state, but that's just the echo, and the echo fades when the sound changes. You are that sound. You are that vibration, and the world always matches the tone you choose. Living from the end changes your choices. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer worry if this will work. You know it already has. This knowing frees you. You buy the coffee without guilt. You give without fear. You speak of your plans without doubting their fulfillment. Not because you're forcing a false image, but because you've accepted the truth of who you are. So speak like it, walk like it, breathe like it, and most importantly, feel like it. That feeling is your guide, your compass, your confirmation. It is the proof you need. Not the number in the bank, not the house or the car, but the deep inner knowing that says, I am. That is enough. That is everything. Live from the end and let the rest unfold. Silence the outer world. Not with force, not with anger, but with understanding. The outer world is not the cause, it is the effect. It is the reflection, not the source. And reflections do not lead, they follow. What you see, hear, and touch is the echo of what you believe, what you assume, and what you accept to be true within yourself. When you decide to accept a new reality inwardly, you must learn to become deaf to what contradicts it outwardly. Statistics, odds, voices of doubt, they all belong to the world of appearances. They arise from a consciousness that has forgotten its own power. But you must remember that reality begins not out there, but in the quiet spaces of your own mind. There will always be someone to remind you of the odds. They will quote percentages. They will tell you to be realistic. But what they call realism is only a loyalty to what has already been. It is not a vision of what could be, and certainly not of what already is in the unseen. When you silence the outer world, you begin to walk by inner knowing, not by external sight. Ask yourself this. What would I do if I could no longer hear the opinions of others? What if no statistic, no expert, no well-meaning friend could plant their doubt in my mind? Who would I be then? What would I dare to believe? That version of you, the one untouched by noise, is the version who manifests. That is the version who creates. You are not denying the facts. You are refusing to worship them. You are not ignoring the world. You are choosing not to let it shape your identity. This is not blind hope. This is spiritual precision. You understand that what is seen came from the unseen, and that to change the outer, you must shift the inner. And that shift begins with silence. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of reaction. You can walk through a world of doubt and be unmoved by it. You can hear the negative news and still choose to hold your vision. This is power. Not loud, not boastful, but deep and immovable. When the storm outside rages, the one who is rooted within is untouched. What you accept within will reflect without. Not may, not might, will. This is law. The moment you accept a new state of being, the outer begins its slow and certain reshaping. But it takes faith. It takes discipline. You cannot plant a seed and then dig it up every time someone questions your garden. You must remain faithful to the seed. You must believe in its invisible growth. Silencing the outer world doesn't mean isolating yourself physically. It means becoming sovereign inwardly. It means letting your imagination speak louder than the voices around you. It means deciding that your inner world is the authority, and the outer must comply. When the outer contradicts your desire, it is not a warning. It is a test, a mirror reflecting your former state. Smile at it. Don't fight it. Don't argue. Just remember who you are and where the true creation takes place. Every master, every visionary, every soul who has shifted reality has first silenced the noise of what is and listened instead to what could be. The world changes for the one who no longer lets it dictate what to believe. This is your secret place. This is your power. Live from within. Let your assumptions lead. What you accept in your heart will soon echo in your life. Do not seek confirmation outside. Create confirmation inside. And the rest will follow. Silence the outer world and listen to the deeper truth. Your attention is the magnet. It draws unto you not what you want, not what you wish, but what you consistently dwell upon. What you give your energy to, that is what multiplies in your world. Where your attention goes, reality flows, and you are always paying something with your focus. The question is, what are you buying with your attention? Many speak of luck. They speak of chance. They obsess over statistics and odds, believing the universe deals its blessings through random selections. But that is the illusion. The truth is far simpler and far more profound. Your world is molded by the content and direction of your attention, not in bursts, not in fits of desperation, but in steady focus, in assumption, in feeling, in acceptance. If you constantly look at lack, you expand lack. If you constantly analyze why something can't happen, you reinforce its impossibility. You have been given the divine gift of attention, and with it, you choose daily which version of reality you inhabit. It is not fate, it is focus. This is why you must become a master of your inner conversations. You must watch what you rehearse in your mind. Are you dwelling on what if it doesn't work? Or what if it goes wrong? These are not harmless thoughts. They are invitations. They are signals sent out into the field of creation, asking for more of the same. The subconscious doesn't judge, it accepts. It doesn't filter for good or bad. It simply creates what is impressed upon it most deeply. If your attention is on certainty, on the knowing that your desire is already fulfilled, then that is the vibration you offer. And reality cannot help but match it. It may not come through the path you expect. It may not arrive on the timeline you prefer. But it must come because the law is firm. Attention gives birth to. This is not about forcing yourself to never have a negative thought. It is about choosing your dominant vibration. What do you return to? Where do you rest? That is the true magnet. If you can train your attention to dwell on abundance, not just financial, but emotional, spiritual, relational, you will begin to see it spring up around you like grass after rain, slowly at first, then suddenly, everywhere. You were not meant to be tossed around by circumstance. You were not designed to be a servant to outer conditions. You are the origin point. You are the cause, not the effect. And your power lies in where you place your focus. So do not squander it by watching everything that's going wrong or obsessing over how it might fail. That is attention wasted. And see yourself as one who already has what they desire. Feel the warmth of that fulfillment. Dwell there. Return often. Let it become your home. Let it become so normal within you that the outer world has no choice but to comply. There is no need to beg, no need to chase. Just align. Just bring your attention back again and again to the state of already having, already being, already knowing. This consistency of attention is the soil from which miracles grow. So, if you are tempted to worry, ask yourself, what am I feeding with my attention right now? And gently redirect it. Not with force, but with certainty. Choose what you see within. Choose what you focus on. Choose what you feel. For this is not just the beginning of creation, it is the creation itself. You are the magnet. Your attention is the force. And the reality you seek is already waiting. Not to be found, but to be focused upon. Before you ever touch that lottery ticket, understand this. The true transaction happens within. The ticket is not the power, you are. Your imagination, your assumption, your inner silence, and your attention, these are the keys. Don't chase the outer world for signs, and don't beg life to bless you. Stand in your knowing. Feel it done. Live as the one who already possesses what others are still hoping for. Let go of the how and trust the unseen hand that shapes reality according to your inner acceptance. Wealth, peace, and fulfillment do not come to you. They come from you. The moment you realize this, the need for effort fades and manifestation becomes natural. You don't need luck. You need alignment. Thank you for listening with the ears of the Spirit. May your inner world be rich, your imagination vivid,